Let's bring you the markets update now. And after a fairly choppy end to the week last week Friday, local trade in a desperate need of some good news. The JSE losing 0.22%, weighed down by miners, particularly the platinum group metal shares that are battling to find a bottom. Simon Brown is JustOneLap founder, joining us now for a quick analysis of the situation. Simon, good morning to you. It's a Monday. That quick overview, let's begin with that of how the local index and the currency are faring at the start of the week.
Morning, Polly. The US after a mixed US on Friday, and as you mentioned, we were red on the day. But Asia opened strong this morning, and we've opened very strongly so far. Top 40 index is up by 0.9%. Industrials up 1.1%. Resources, as you mentioned, the platinum group metal stocks, they're finding a bit of a level at this point. Will it hold? Time will tell, but also up 1.1%. Banks, the lagger, but still green, up 0.4%. On the currency front, a mixed bag. Against the dollar, we're a little bit stronger at 18.78, but the US has closed today, so we should see fairly quiet activity in Iran and probably the market overall. Sterling is a little bit weaker at 23.71, and euro pretty much unchanged, 20.29. If we look at the commodities, gold 1,970, which is a little bit green. Brent oil moving higher. This is bad news for motorists, 88.47. Platinum 966, and palladium $1,227 an ounce.
Well, let's immediately launch into company news, Simon, because Transnet reported a 5.7 billion rand loss in the financial year, which has ended in March. Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan promising a radical plan to turn around Transnet, and wait for it, this includes a plan for an extensive review of the parastatal's executive management. What's going on there?
I mean, Transnet is truthfully a mess at this point. The amount of goods being moved, and truthfully passengers at the same time, which is the PRASA, of course, really is well down on expectations and previous numbers. If we look at the coal terminal line to Richards Bay Coal Terminal, they're doing about 50 million tons a year. They should be doing in excess of 70 million tons a year. The loss wasn't unexpected. The plan from the minister sounds good, but let's be frank, we've heard about plans from ministers before. We want to actually see something happening. The good news perhaps for Transnet is we are seeing some stuff happening. We spoke a month or three back. They're doing a deal with Terminal 2 at the Durban port. They've got some private industry interested in running the Durban Joburg line, the line down to Berger at the same time. So maybe there's some hope here, but we really need to see actions and results rather than just words from ministers with respect to the minister.
Yeah, and you'll forgive me, Simon, I tend to get excited when it gets to politics. Is it fair to say those words by the minister when he says there's going to be an extensive review of the parastatal's executive management? Does that mean that this management is as good as gone?
I think so. I mean, surely. I mean, Portia Derby, who's current CEO there, she came in 2020, a tough time to assume a top position. I appreciate that. But there was really good expectation from her and her team. And truthfully, things have just got worse over the 3 years of her tenure. Now, as I say, it's a tough position. It's a tough SOE to turn around. That all said, it needs to happen. Question, is 3 years enough to start seeing some evidence? I think so. I think we have seen a team which came in with great promise simply not deliver. And I think your point, Polly, 100%. I think the minister is really saying we need a new team. The question is, are they going to be given the space? And can they do something really with Transnet? Or is it just functionally broken, which would be tragic for our economy?
Sure. Let's talk African Rainbow Minerals posting results for the financial year, which ended on the 30th of June 2023, including a cash dividend. That's a declaration there. Help us make sense of their performance.
Not bad numbers. They've got a lot that they're struggling with. They're in thermal coal, iron ore, and manganese. These are all products that are in demand. They're all products that have got elevated prices from their long-term averages, but pricing that is well down from the previous 2 financial years that they've reported on. They've obviously got Transnet problems, no surprise there, particularly with their exports. But what we do see here is what they can manage. In other words, in terms of production, they've done very well. Costs, they've got inflation pressure, but they're managing to keep those costs managing as well. So from a management perspective, they're doing one of what they can control. What's beyond their control, Transnet and the price of the commodities, is just that. Nothing they can do about it. They need to manage the other parts well. I thought, considering, a good set of numbers.
Let's talk RCL Foods. Financial results for the year, which ended June 2023, also out. What stood out for you in this latest print?
A lot of moving parts here. They've got rid of their Vector Logistics, which they've sort of sold off, and they've had to deconsolidate from the result. But overall, a really tough period. And we're seeing mixed bag of results from the food producers. We can touch on AVR in a moment. And I got to say, I thought RCL came in pretty much near the bottom of the grouping, along probably with Rhodes Food, who had some sort of significant issues beyond their own making. But this is really struggling. The input costs are hurting them. Sugar did well for them. Rainbow, which of course is chickens, doing okay, but should have a better year going forward. It was a set of results that I thought really was fairly weak, notwithstanding. A lot of it is symptomatic of the broader economy, and I think there's perhaps some drop-balls coming from management.
You've already touched on AVI. That's the company we're going to conclude with, also publishing results for the year, which ended the 30th of June 2023. What do their numbers tell us about their state of affairs in that group?
So they've got INJ. INJ struggled, and that was the sort of bleak spot on their numbers. Their catch rates weren't very high, and of course diesel costs are significantly hurting. But the rest of the operations, what AVR management does spectacularly well is maintain the margins. In other words, as their input costs increase, which of course inflation, they're managing to pass that on to consumers with product mix and pricing, and they really are stellar at managing to do that and getting that through. In what has undoubtedly been a very, very tough year to the end of June, I thought these were standout results. And in the food producer space, I think this is top of the pile. It is tough, make no mistake, but the management team here, really top-notch.
JustOneLap founder Simon Brown, thank you very much for that markets update. Very interesting times indeed.